Hello YouTube, Jerry Kirkpatrick here. And did you notice anything different about the tool holders that you just saw? Well, I'm going to show it to you again, and you might notice that in each of the tool holders there are two tool bits. The only one that didn't have two tool bits in it was the parting tool, and that's because of the length of the tool. I didn't want to, well, there's no other tool that would fit in this particular tool holder. And quite some time ago, I purchased this tool holder that has a turning and a facing tool bit in it already. And when I purchased this, I looked at my other tool holders and said to myself, why not have each of the tool holders using a bit in both ends? So just a short time ago, KBC sent me one of their sale flyers, and they had this particular tool on sale. So I purchased it, and obviously I looked for another tool that I could use on the other end. This particular tool I can do facing and turning. So I figured what I could use is a square tool bit that I could turn 45 degrees, and then I could chamfer on the inside of a hole, on the outside of a corner, that is when it's been turned and faced. And when I do parting, I can run this portion in, and just by moving it back and forth, I can put a chamfer on both sides of the parting line before finishing parting it off. So in my tool holder, I want to place this one so I can do the turning and facing. And on this end, I want to bend this at a 45 degree and place this one like that. So what I've got to do is obviously shorten this one up to where it's only hanging out the amount of the insert, and there's a little shoulder right here. So I'll line this shoulder up with the edge of the tool holder and make a cut at halfway of the tool holder. Once I get that in place, I can bend this one at a 45 degree and then figure out how much of this I have to cut off to get to half of the tool holder. And if you're thinking this is a crazy idea, well, if you look at your boring bars, that's all the longer they are. And the, I guess you would call it the fulcrum point of this wanting to bend is right at the end of the tool holder. So by sliding that back in and using these two screws, I feel that you've lost nothing. In fact, when these are manufactured, you have two screws here and two screws here, meaning to me that these are meant to be used in either side of your tool holder, either like this or like this. And so let's get started on preparing both of the tools to fit in the tool holder. One nice plus about doing this is you get a nice length of 1/2-inch square tool steel. So let me get this put in place. I want to line up these two right there. The next thing to do is to turn this bit 45 degrees. So that will fit right in here. After I get that turned, it'll be out in here somewhere. So there probably won't be that much to remove off of the end of this one. So let me get the paint off of here, put some heat, get an isolated heat right in this area, just behind the silver solder here. I'll put a small amount of heat on this side and then have a broader heat pattern on this side. And as I'm bringing this up to temperature to make that bend, I will constantly be dipping this area here in water. So as this heat comes up here, I won't have to worry about the silver solder melting in this area here. And here we have the tool bit turned 45 degrees, and I took a little time and radiused off the bottom here, so when I'm chamfering a hole or a piece of tubing or something like that, I won't get interference down in this area. And as I use this, I'll probably have to do some tuning on this. I don't know exactly what that radius is going to look like. So as I use the tool, I will learn what kind of relief I will need in this area. Actually, I only need a very small amount. I might be able to grind this whole end off, maybe put a radius on there, because all I have to use is the very end of this. And when I place this in the tool holder, I don't think I'm going to have to cut anything off at all. There is a little pooch right in this area, and I don't mind that because that means that I didn't get very much heat in this area, which I did not want. This does not need to stretch. By keeping this area cool, just barely red hot, which is about 1,000 degrees, I made sure that the bend was in here so I could keep this in cool in some water so as not to damage the silver solder. So I had a broader heat back in this area, you can see it's just a little bit thinner on this side and a little pooch right there. So when I slide this in, I will just come right up right there. Now I have a nice flat area that I'm clamping on. So I have 2 clamps on this tool bit, 2 clamps on this tool bit, just like the manufacturer intended. And now you say, well, Jerry, look how high this one is compared to this one. This is a 1/2 inch shank, this is a 3/8 shank. Well, that is where the feeler gauges come into play. So while you were gone, I decided to do a few things before we start getting these leveled up. One, I took that bump off that I mentioned earlier here and here, so now I have a nice flat surface on the bottom and up on the top. I also ground a 7-degree relief on this edge of the carbide because we're going to be getting into a hole, and I also ground a relief here and in this direction. So about from that area on down, I should be able to get into almost any size hole. So let's get on to mounting this and getting both tool heights equal. So in order to set the tool heights the same, obviously you can use any method that seems comfortable for you, but what I'm going to show you is the way I've been doing this right along, and it seems to work for me. So what I've done is put both the tool bits in with them just about as tight as they will be when I'm working with them. Next, I use my dial indicator. Get that leveled up on a piece of glass. Slide the bit under there and take a measurement and write that down. That is 962 thousandths. Next, I'm going to turn the piece around and get the measurement of this one. I just rock the calipers and they're resting nice and flat on the end of the caliper. Set that tool bit right up against it. And the measurement on this one is 846 thousandths. So we have 962 thousandths on the taller one and 846 on the lower one. So we're going to subtract the 846 from the 962. And we come up with 116 thousandths. So at this point, we just start looking for anything. Obviously that's 125, that's too thick. I'm just looking for something maybe 100 thousandths, 50 thousandths. So I just start looking around for different small pieces that will get me probably somewhere maybe around 100 to 110 thousandths. So let me go find a piece that is in this range, and I'll be right back. So here we go. I found a old bronze leaf that I used to make, and it is 95 thousandths thick. So let me get this cut to a size that will go under here, and then we'll start shimming it up to get an exact dimension. Back in the 80s, I made quite a number of really nice entry gates for a winery over in Napa, and that's why I have a scrap grape leaf. I had these in all different sizes. It had to do all the fullering and shaping, so that's why I have a piece of bronze that's 95 thousandths thick. So let's go through the math here real quick. The tallest one, which was this one here, was 962 thousandths off of the deck, off of the glass. This one here was 846 thousandths, which meant I needed 116 thousandths total underneath this one to bring the tool heights up to the same. The piece of silicone bronze that I had here was 95 thousandths. That meant I needed 21 thousandths to make the height of both ends exactly the same. So here is where the feeler gauges come in. I paid a little over $7 for this. They have another one, another set that's thicker for $9. So those are pretty cheap. But I do them one better. I got this set for 25 cents at a garage sale because they're all rusty and not usable, and you can see that I used them on some of my other tool holders that I've doubled up. So I found this one, and I actually cleaned it up a little on both sides, and if we stack those together, we are at 116 thousandths in thickness. So let me get this cut off to the right length, and I'll deburr it, and I'll be right back. So here I am back with the appropriate shim. So we'll just stack those up. Open these more than I thought. So here we have the two shims, and I make sure that where these two screws are, we have plenty of purchase on the shims themselves. I don't want anything hanging over. They got the shims in there, tool bits in there. Tighten it down. Now we'll get a measurement of both. We're still at 962. $961.5. So we're within a half a thou. I could probably just tighten this down a little bit more and get that half. Doink, doink. No, it didn't feel it move. So anyhow, now I can set either one of these at the center on my lathe, and so I can use it this way for turning or facing. Just turn it around this way, and I can chamfer on the inside of a hole. Well done. I can chamfer on the outside of what I just faced, and if I'm parting, I can move this over and I can get both sides of where I'm trying to part off. So you may ask, why would I want to go through this kind of trouble just to make sure that I have a tool bit on both ends of my tool holder? Well, as of yesterday, McMaster Carr was selling this standard AXA tool holder at $53.91, and the one with a little groove down it for holding round stock or boring bars, those cost $58.56. Well, by doing this, now I have 7 of these that otherwise I would have 14 tool holders in a rack. I only have 7 plus the parting tool. Those 7 tool holders at the cheaper $53.91, that comes to $377.37. That's why I do it. And I understand I had to use a portion of an old rusty feeler gauge. So if you amortize that 25 cents over 7 pieces, that comes to 3.5 cents. So if you want to take the 3.5 cents off of the $377.37, go ahead. I think if you take a look at the tool rack that you have right now and just take a look at all of the tool bits and what they perform, you can probably match those up. So you have a like operation, let's say, on each side. Like this one, I have a tool that will turn and face, and with the same tool I can turn it sideways, put it in the other side, and I can deburr it. So take a look at the rack that you have now and see how many of those you can match up, and then you'll have spare tool holders that you can do anything you want with. I would like to thank everybody that's bought me coffee. That's how I bought the spare tool holder and the feeler gauges. And thank you very much to my patrons. It really helps to put out new and better videos from this channel. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.